Alright, in this video we will start with creating the widgets that we will need for our shop, so let's get started. First off, let's go to our widgets folder, right click and create a new widget blueprint, which will be our shop widget. Just so we have that done, we'll design the widget later. Now let's go to our merchant blueprint and let's add two new variables. First one will be the shop widget of the type shop widget reference, and the next one will be the top down character of the type top down character reference. Compile and save. Now let's go back to our widgets and we will create a new one, which will be offered item. Double click to open that. Let's delete the canvas, change the setting to desired on screen, and we will start with a size box. Give it a width and height override of 240 by 150 pixel. Then let's add a border. Give that border a padding of 4 for its child, and let's lower the alpha to 0.75 maybe. Then we will add another border, this time clear the child padding. Let's give that a brush color of a very dark gray. On top of that border we will add a canvas panel, and let's start with the icon. So let's get an image, drag that in here, call that our icon. Let's anchor that to the left middle anchor here. Let's check size to content and change the image size to 64 by 64 pixel. And let's move it over to position of X of 8 and in Y to -28 pixel. However, you can change that values if you want to. Then let's add a text to the canvas panel, which will be our name text, and make sure that this is a variable. Let's move it down for 4 pixel maybe, anchor that to the top center here. Let's set position X to 0, then set the alignment in X to 0.5 so it appears in the center. Let's also increase the size to 230 pixel just so it fills out all the space up here by 28 pixel. Select the justification, align text center, and let's decrease the font size to 16 and select regular. For the text, you could type in some default value like health potion. Then we will add a button to buy the item. Call that our buy button. Show it's a variable, anchor that to the lower right corner and set the position in X to -104 and -38 pixel if you want yours to look exactly like mine. Also set the size in Y to 36 pixel, and under appearance change the background color to orange. Then we will add a text to it. Clear the padding, and for the text we will type in buy. Then we can lower the font size to 22 or 20 should work, and let's double click the shadow color and make that opaque. Also make sure that its visibility is set to hit test invisible. Let's add another image, and for the image here select the gold icon, uncheck the is variable, and let's make that 30 pixels wide and 30 high. Let's also anchor that to the left center here. Position in Y can be 0 and in X 76. We also need another text, and that will be the price text. Make sure that is a variable. Anchor it to the left center as well. Size in X can be 118 by 24 pixel. Position in X will be 112 and in Y 4. Then for the default text you could type in 9999 if you like. Let's decrease the font size to 15. Maybe choose the type of italic. Then for the color we will choose our orange color. maybe a bit lighter, so it has the same color as our gold icon here. Also, for the case that our player wants to buy multiple items at once, we will add a slider to our canvas panel. Call that our amount slider. Let's anchor it to the top middle anchor here. Position in X will be -34 and in Y 30. And let's give it a size in X of 144 by maybe 18 pixel. That looks fine. And lastly, we'll add a text, which will be our amount text. Make that a variable. Default text can be 1. Set justification to align text center. Size in X can be 135 by 30 pixel. Then we'll also anchor it to the top center here. Then we have to type in -30 for the position in X once again. Also, let's decrease the font size to 18 pixel maybe. Compile and save. Let's hop over to the event graph and create some variables here. First one will be the assigned item, which will be a BP master item class, editable and exposed on spawn. Then we'll need a reference to our inventory actor, which will be a BP inventory reference, also editable and exposed on spawn. Next variable will be the current item info. That will be s_item info. That one you don't have to make editable and expose on spawn. And the next one will be our current amount, which is an integer. Finally, the last variable will be maximum amount to buy. Then let's compile and save. Our current amount will be set to 1 by default. And for the maximum amount to buy, you can choose something. I will choose 99, which is common for some games. Compile and save that. Also, we will add a function called update price. And in here we will get our price text, set text, connect that to the execution here. And what we'll do is get our item info, break it, then hit the arrow here so we see our value, and we'll get our current amount, multiply that integer times integer, connect the value, and then connect it to the in text. After that we will get the buy button and set is enabled. And for the in enabled we will get the inventory, get the top down char reference there, then get his gold, current gold value, and check whether that is greater or equal to the value times our current amount. Then connect the boolean to the in is enabled. Finally, let's copy over our price text and set color and opacity. Off of the in color and opacity, make slate color. Off of the specified color, search for select color. We already did that once. For the pick A, we will connect our boolean here. So if we're able to buy the item, we will choose our orange color, and if not, we will choose a red color. After we set the color and opacity, we can return. Compile and save. Also, we need another function that will be called init for initialize. What we'll do is get the assigned item, get class defaults, and set our item info to the item info of our class. Then drag in the name text and drag in our icon. First we will set the text of our name text. For the in text, let's get our item info and break that somewhere here. Connect the name. Then off of the icon, set brush from texture. And the in texture will be our item icon. After that we will update the price. And then off of the can be stacked, search for a branch. If our item can be stacked, we will get the current amount. and get the amount text, then set text to our current amount, convert it to a text. However, if our item cannot be stacked, we will get the amount text and the amount slider and then set visibility to hidden, since we won't need those two then. Also, if we want to reuse the function later, we can then set the amount back to 1. And also, if it can be stacked, let's copy over the set visibility, and this time we will set them to visible. After that, we will return. Then let's go to our event graph, and on event construct we will call our initialize function. Compile and save. Then let's select the amount slider and add an event for onValue change. So when we drag our slider, and what we will do is we will set the current amount. And for the in amount, search for lerp. The alpha will be our value. B will be our maximum amount to buy, converted to a float, and A will be 1. So a minimum of 1 and maximum amount of 99 at the moment. Then let's round the return value to convert it back to an integer and connect that to the current amount. After that, we will get the amount text and set text to our current amount, converted to a text, and finally update the price. Now let's select the buy button and add an onClicked event. So when we want to buy the item, we will drag in our inventory, search for add item. Item class will be the assigned item, and amount will be our current amount. The merchant, I will check the show notification boolean here, and off of the success, search for a branch. If we were successful, we will get the current amount minus the rest that wasn't added, and we will get our inventory, get the top down char, and call the function decrease gold. And for the amount, make sure that it's the current amount minus and not times the rest. Then connect that to the amount. After that, we can also update the price. Alright, that's everything we had to do for our offered item widget. Let's close that. And we will also need a widget to sell our items. For that, we can just get the row widget, duplicate that, and call it sell widget. Double click. And let's make some changes here. So the how many do you want to throw away will become how many do you want to sell, question mark. Let's move that over a bit. And in here we will add a text, which will be the price text. So the amount of money that we will get if we hit confirm now, make that a variable. Let's decrease the font size to 20 maybe. Give it an orange color. Default text, you can type in 9,999 again. Then let's also add an image, and that will be our gold icon. Give it a size of maybe 50 by 50 pixel. Let's move it down here. Maybe a bit up. That one a bit up. Looks fine. Then on the event graph we will add a new variable, and that will be a reference to the shop widget. Variable type will be shop widget reference. File and save. Then another function, update price. And what that will do is simply get our price text, set the text. The in text will be our throw count times. Actually, before we proceed, let's go to our update event, and when our slot is not empty, let's move all of that over. Then let's get the item info and promote that to a variable called item info. Connect that to the execution here. And now in our update price function, we will simply get the item info, break that, and get our value here. Multiply that by the throw count, connect that to the text, and after that we can return. Now we also need to call that function, so in our increase count, before we return, we will update the price. In our decrease count, we will call update price. Then in our event graph, when we update, at the very end here, we will call update price. When we click our minus button 2 times and set the text here, we will update the price. And finally, on our click plus button, when we set the text, update the price once again. Alright, that's it for now in our sell widget. Later we will come back to that, but for now we can close it. And let's open up our shop widget. In here, delete the canvas, set it to desired on screen. Start, like we always do, with a size box. Check the width and height override. Set that to 500 by 700 pixel. Then we will add an overlay. On top of that overlay, we will start with a vertical box. Inside that vertical box, we will add a border. Clear the padding for this one and set the brush color to black with an alpha of 0.8. Then on top of the border we will add a horizontal box. In that box we will start with a text. Text will just say merchant. Align that to the left and vertically to the center. Maybe let's give that a padding of 20 pixels from the left. And then we will add a button to our horizontal box. Set that to fill and to horizontally align right. Also make sure that our vertical box is set to horizontally align fill and vertically. Then call our button the close button. Then let's change the background color to red. And let's add a text on top of our close button, which will just be an X. Give that a padding of 12.0, 2.0, and maybe make the shadow color opaque. Then for the visibility, select hit test invisible, so we can click on our text and we will still hit the button. Alright, that's it for the first border. After that we will add another border on top of the vertical box. And this border will be set to fill. It will have 0 padding. Brush color, you can select something like a gray color. I would just type in the hex linear code, which is 0E, 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 7F, and with an alpha of 0.5. Then on top of our border we will add a scroll box. And on top of the scroll box, a uniform grid panel. Call that our grid panel, make sure it's a variable, and give it a slot padding of 10 pixels to each side. Alright, that's it for our second border, and we can copy and paste our first border, paste that onto our vertical box, this time set to align bottom and horizontally align fill. You can delete the merchant text, and you can also delete the close button. We just need the border and its color. In here we will add a text. That will be the gold text. Make sure that is a variable. The default text can be 9999 again. Set that to fill and horizontally align right. Vertically center. Can increase the font size to 26. Color will be orange. Also give it a padding of 10 to the right. Then we will search for size box, drag that on top of a horizontal box, set that to align right and vertically to the center, then give it a width and height override of 60 by 60 pixel, and to our size box we will add an image, uncheck the is variable and select our gold icon. Then we will also need a cell widget here, so search for cell widget and drag that on top of our overlay. Then select it and align that to the center. File and save and set the default visibility of that one to hidden. In the event graph of our shop widget we will also need some variables. First one will be a reference to the merchant of the shop. That will be a merchant reference, editable and expose and spawn. Next one will be a top-down character reference. Finally, the last one will be offered item widgets, and variable type will be offered item reference and make that an array. Then we can compile and save. Let's also add two functions. The first one will be update gold. Before we add something here, let's make sure that our top-down character is set to editable and expose and spawn. Then in our update gold function we will get the top-down character, get its current gold, get the gold text and set text to the current gold. After that we will return. Next function will be generate item list, and what we will do is get our merchant, get his offer, so all the items that we're selling, and we will launch it for each loop, create a widget for every item that we're selling, and that will be our offered item widget. Assigned item comes from our array element. For the inventory, let's get our top-down character and his inventory reference. Then we'll drag in our offered item widgets and add to it, and add the return value here. Then let's drag in our grid panel and search for add child to uniform grid. Content will be the return value of our create offered item widget. And now, because I want to show two offered item widgets in each row, I will drag off of the return value from our add child to uniform grid, search for set row and search for set column. Connect those two to the execution. For the row we will get the index of our for each loop, convert that to a float, then divide it by 2, or whatever amount of items you want to have in a row, then truncate that and connect it to the row. For the column, just get the array index and search for modulo and type in 2. Then connect it to the set column node. After a loop has completed, we will return. Now let's go to the event graph, and on construct we will first update the gold, after that generate our items, and finally we will get our cell widget and set its inventory reference to the inventory reference of our top-down character, and off of the cell widget search for set shop widget, and that one we will set to a reference of ourselves. Also, let's do the close button. When we click that, we will just get our merchant and call the onShop close event that we created in the last video. File, save the shop widget, and let's go to our top-down character. Here in our update gold function, after we set the text, let's branch whether we have a shop opened. If not, we can just return, but if a shop is open, we will get the nearby merchant, get his shop widget, and call the update gold. And also we will have to get all of our offered item widgets, and for each of them we will call the update price function. And when we complete the loop, we will also return. Another thing we'll have to do is go to our inventory, here to our hide inventory function. And after we did all of this, let's get the top-down char reference. Get is shop open, or B left click for branch. If there is no shop open, we will return. But if there is one open, we will get the top-down char reference, get the nearby merchant, get the shop widget. Off of the shop widget, get the grid panel, and set is enabled to true. And off of the shop widget, get the sell widget and set that one to hidden. You will see later why we need that. After that, we can return. Also, we have to create ways to sell our widgets, and I will do that with our action menu. So let's go to the widgets, to the action menu, and in here we have our throw away button. Let's call that throw sell button, and get a text and call that throw sell text. Make that a variable, compile and save. Then in the event graph, in our update function, before we do anything here, get the inventory, get the top-down char reference, get the shop open, and then we will set the throw sell text, set its text, and for the in text, search for a select node. The index will be our is shop open boolean. So if our shop is open, we will call that sell. If not, we will just use throw away like we did before. Compile and save. Let's go back to our event graph, and when we hit our throw or sell button, get the inventory, get the top down char reference, get the shop open, search for a branch. If our shop is not open, we will do the things that we did before, so just connect it to the next branch. But if our shop is open, we will get the item info, break it. Let's also drag in the amount, then expand the item info and search for the can be stacked. Search for and. And the next one will be that our amount is greater than 1. Connect that to the end, and off of the end search for another branch. So if our item cannot be stacked or the amount is equal to 1, we will get the inventory, and we will try to remove item at index. Index will be the current index, amount will be 1, connect that to the false, and off of the success search for another branch. So if we were successful, we will get our inventory again, get the top down character, search for increase gold, and the amount will come from our item info. If we break that and just plug in the value. After we increase the gold, we can set visibility of our cells to hidden. If the item can be stacked, however, and the amount is greater than 1, we will copy over our inventory and top-down character. Let's get the nearby merchant, get the shop widget, and then get the sell widget. Now off of the sell widget, search for update, and the new index will be our current index, and connect that to the execution. After we did that, get the sell widget and set visibility to visible. Then off of the shop widget, let's get our grid panel, and off of the inventory, get the inventory widget. Off of the inventory widget, get the slot panel, and off of the slot panel, search for set is enabled. Leave that as false, and for the target also connect the grid panel of our shop widget. After we disabled both of them, we can set the visibility of our cells to hidden. File and save. Now we can close the action menu and let's get back to our cell widget, since we didn't finish that one. When we hit our cancel button down here, we also have to get our shop widget's grid panel and set that one to enabled as well. For the confirm button, get the things behind the branch, let's move them over. So when we were successful with removing the item at index, we can then get the inventory, get the top down character, and search for increase gold. Amount will be the throw count multiplied by the item info, break that, and get the value. Connect that to the amount. After we did that, we can connect it to the set is enabled, but make sure that again you drag in the shop widget, get the grid panel, and connect it to the set is enabled as well. Now we can compile. Let's close the cell widget. Let's go back to our shop widget and let's override a function called onDrop. So we will add the functionality that you can also drop items in the shop to sell them. First off, cast the operation to item drag. So make sure that we're not dragging around widgets. If the cast failed, we can return. If not, we will have to get the slot that we're dragging, get the item info there, break it, expand it, get the category and check that it's not equal to quest items, then search for a branch. If that is false, we also return. If not, another branch, holding B and left clicking. This time we will check that we can be stacked and that the amount from our drag slot is greater than 1, just like we did in the action menu. Connect the end to the condition of the branch. Again, do the false bar first. Let's get the top down character, get his inventory reference, and let's try to remove item at index. The index will come from our drag slot. In here we got that variable called slot index. Connect it to the index, amount will be 1. And off of the success, search for a branch. If we were successful, we can get the top down character, increase the gold by the value from our break as item info. And after we increased our gold, we will return. This time with successful. But if our item can be stacked and the amount is greater than 1, we will get our cell widget, call the update function. The new index will be the slot index of our drag slot. After we did that, we will set visibility of our cell widget to visible. Then let's get the grid panel, copy over the inventory, and search for get inventory widget. Then get slot panel, search for set is enabled, connect the grid panel to the target as well, and leave that as unchecked. After that we can return. Also for the false path here, let's go to a return node with false. Now we can compile and save, close it. That's everything for our widgets. Let's actually open up the merchant now. And on interact, first off, search for do once. So make sure that our player cannot press E like a maniac and he will open multiple shops. Do is set the top down character variable to the incoming top down character. Then create a widget. widget will be the shop widget. The merchant will be our sales, and the top-down character will be our top-down character reference here. Then we can set our shop widget to the return value of the create shop widget. After that, we will drag in the shop widget and search for set position in viewport. Set that to 0, 0 and do not remove the DPI scale. After that, set anchors in viewport. Connect that and right click on the anchors split struct pin, and here everywhere type in 0.5. So we will anchor that to the center. Then we will set alignment in viewport. Here again type in 0.5 for X and Y. After that we can add our shop widget to the viewport. And let's also give it a higher Z order, 5 maybe, so it appears on top of the other widgets. After that we will do a little trick, and that is to get our top-down character, get the inventory reference. First off, we will hide the inventory, and right after that show it. So you might ask yourself why we do that. First off, the player will see no difference because that happens way too quickly. The human eye won't notice it. And on the other hand, when we go into a hide inventory function, you can see that we, for example, set the visibility of our throwaway widget to hidden as well, so we don't have to call that again here. After that, let's get the top-down char and set shop is open to true. And something completely optional, if you want to stop the player from moving, get the movement component of the top-down character, then disable movement, so after that you cannot right click somewhere to move there, and another thing you have to do is to stop movement immediately. Alright, now when we close the shop, let's get the top-down character and set shop is open to false. After that, get the character movement component and set movement mode to walking, so we can move again. Then let's get the inventory from our top-down character and check whether it is visible. Add a branch. If our inventory is visible currently, we will again call hide inventory, and right after that we want to show it again. Also get the shop widget and remove it from parent. We also have to connect the false path of our branch to the remove from parent, and after that we will set the shop widget to null before we reset the do once. So after we removed our shop widget, our player can interact with the shopkeeper once again. Compile and save, and before we test, there is one issue in our offered item widget, so let's go there. And here, when we subtract the rest from the current amount, we also have to multiply that value, and we want to get our item info, break it, connect the value here, and then connect it to the amount of our decrease gold function. By the way, if you also have the error that your struct disconnects from the break node, just right click on the struct and choose split struct pin. Let's move it over. Now we can control click on the category of the break node and move that to our split struct category. Then here also select the quest item again, control click on the can be stacked, move that over. And finally control click on the value and move that to the value of our split struct here. Then you can remove the break node, compile and save, and the error will disappear. Now we should be ready to playtest. So when we pick up our stone, wood and our hero slot, let's go to our merchant. If we open the shop, we cannot move anymore, and you can see here that we cannot buy something yet. If we press F, we have 75 gold now, and see that we can buy things. Let's buy a hero sword. We subtracted 50 gold and added one. Let's right click, sell it again, and now we have 75 gold again. When we drop a stackable item here, you can see our sell widget, can press cancel, or we can sell it and specify an amount here, 19. We've got the gold for that. Also for stackable items we can buy multiple ones, so maybe for the wood let's buy 10 of these and see that that worked as well. Alright, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.